Hello and welcome to the Build with Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Baer. I'm here to build a model kit and to hang out with all of you. Before we get any further, throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the moat in the chat. Let the people know you're a subscriber. Also put them in there to thank Harold for subscribing with Tier 1 for 59 months. Thank you so much for your continued support, Harold. That's rad. Lashberg is here. Harold is, of course, here. Aristophan is here. Welcome, everybody. If you're not currently a subscriber, you can just throw in other people's emotes or just say hi. Mr. Bob is here. Hello, Mr. Bob. Or you can just chill and be a lurker. Tony the Swordsman is here. Welcome, Tony. Harold is, of course, here, who'd renewed your sub. Appreciate that very much for doing that. 59 months is a lot of fucking months, and I appreciate your continued support here of the old Build with Bear. We are currently 34 subscribers, you can see up and up below me. The goal is to hit 40, not 50. 50 was a goal a long time ago. We're going for 40. We're shooting for 40. Yes, I do get a payout now for $50 per month instead of having to hit that 100, which 40 usually took care of. But still, 40 is a great number. That's what we're shooting for. Because if I start saying it's okay that we're at 30, then it's going to start getting down to 20. And I can't have that. Because then I wouldn't get the $50 payout. That's just where we're at. Tonight's agenda, working on the God Gundam real grade. We have built so much of this fucking kit. We got another arm to build. We got parts of the other arm built, but we still got to do the rest of it. Then the head, the core lander, which is all the core fighter, I should say, which is also the backpack, has got to get built. Then we got to put some rings on this thing because it has cool effect ring pieces. There's another one. I only grabbed two with my hand there. We'll do that. I don't think we're finishing this kit tonight. I do think we're finishing this kit on Monday. So that's the thing about real grades is they take a fucking long time because they're just so many tiny pieces. Tonight's conversation agenda. Anime in the second hour. I got 4 shows to talk about. One of them was goddamn wild. Tony says a favorite Gundam of mine. Yeah, the God Gundam fucking rules. It kicks ass. It is so like... It's such a good Gundam considering how wild and weird the other Gundams are on that show. That they were just like, no. Our main Gundam is going to be fucking chill and cool. Both the Burning and the God. And the, aka the Shining Gundam. If you were watching the dub. But yeah, I got 4 anime shows to talk about. We're going to talk a little wrestling tonight because there was some wrestling last night. Basically, there was no wrestling. The portion we're going to talk about didn't even involve wrestling, really, but it's just cool. I'll talk about some stuff going on with me, including PAX Unplugged. Maybe we'll talk about NVIDIA and they're deciding they're not going to sell their underpowered card that had a very similar name to their pretty powerful card / very powerful card. But also, we're going to talk about voice acting because despite the fact that I have never been paid to voice act, I am very fucking familiar with the industry and I have things to say about shit that was coming up with Helena Taylor. And even if she seems to be kind of all over the place, it's still a conversation that is worth having about non-union work by union actors and performers. And why that happens all the time and why it feels like it shouldn't, but it does. And not much about what we can do about it because I'm not an answer man. Oh, we dropped some frames. My apologies for frame dropping. I have nothing to do with it. All right, we're going to get going just here now. Now we've kind of hung out in the chill zone here. Going to retweet my own tweets so we can get a few more friends to join us. And then we'll just get back into it. I should also say, Harold, congratulations on being back on the internet. I know that you were without internet for quite some time, and that's got to be super fucking frustrating. And so I'm glad that you were back into it. Real grades do take a long time, says Lashbrook. Looks like I've been building my current one for 8 months at this point. Yeah, I mean, obviously I build model kits. I say 2 hours a week. I stream 2 hours at a time, but we don't build for the full 2 hours. But let's say an hour and 45 minutes times 3. But it still takes a long time to do, is what I'm saying. All right, so this is gonna go like this. It goes like this. Oh, I gotta go to the overhead. What am I even fucking doing? Overhead here, we're zoomed in a little bit, but the camera is in a bit of a different position than it was previously, which should be fine. We should be okay with that camera in that position. We're just, I moved things around. Basically, my side table that I was using, I swapped it out. It was a card table, which is not the greatest thing. I switched it out for a nightstand, which is a little taller, which is great for my third monitor. But I had to like move things around, and so the positioning of this camera is a little different than where it was. But I think it'll be okay. And as always, friends, if it's not good for you, if there's something you wish I would be doing something about it, just fucking let me know. I want to hear from you about that stuff, so let me know. Again, we are working on the other arm. We got this arm done. We're going to work on the other arm here, so we'll just do that. Try to get this piece snapped in right. I believe that is correct. This looks proper here. Okay. I mostly know what I'm doing. Every once in a while, I am reminded when I don't know what I'm doing. But for the most part, I got a pretty good grasp on this shit. Again, sometimes not really, but most of the time. All right, so then this goes like. Let's go. What happened here? Sorry. Okay, so this looks like this. This is supposed to go in here, and then turn. Why doesn't this want to turn? Again, I just said I know what I'm doing, and then I can't do this part. That's weird. It's so weird. Sorry. I'll figure it out. It's just weird. Why are you being like this? Do you want to turn the other way? No, you don't. You don't want to turn at all. You have to, though. I'm telling you, you've got to. If I go like that? No. Why do you pop out? Did I do this part wrong? Folks, did I do it wrong? I don't know. This is fun. And by fun, I'm lying. I'm lying when I say this is fun. All right, let's look at this again. This goes like this. That end goes like that. Got it. Then, I'm supposed to take it like this. Turn it. This is supposed to look at that. Is this on backwards? Nope. Nope. This is right. Then this pops in. Align with the grooves. Align with the grooves. Grooves have been aligned. This pops the fuck. Okay, so let's go back a page. Folks, this is fun. We're going to go back a page to when I built this part, and we are going to see if I did something wrong on this one, which it's totally possible I did. Okay, so this goes in second. No, that goes in like that. Does this look right when I do this here? Put this in, down. This does not look right. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take this all apart, and we are going to go back to putting this together because I believe I did this wrong. It's possible I didn't do this wrong, and now I'm just like confused, but whatever. We'll go back. So I'm going to separate all these parts here. Okay, let's go back to this part here. Does this look right? It doesn't look right. So that's the thing. This doesn't look right. The other one might have been accurate, but this seems wrong. It's going to be a real bummer here if these stickers need to get back on, but we'll figure that out when the time's right. All right, so right now I am just using this pry tool, the Bandai official pry tool, to separate these four components, and I am going to attempt to reassemble these four components properly. So that'll be nice if I can do that. All right, so this is the outside piece. This is the inside piece. Outside piece should be like that. And then this goes this with the loop side up. Okay. That does look accurate. All right. And then this is going to go this way, which looks accurate. And then this goes like that. Okay. As far as I can tell, I have this part right. We'll see if it stays right as I continue to do these steps. We got to get into some conversation here. So, a quick thing. I can talk about this while I try to figure this out. I am going to PAX Unplugged. I have made a decision. I am being assisted in my journey to PAX Unplugged, which I would not be able to do otherwise. I'll tell you this, friends. Last year, I was helped out, but I paid my own way at vis-a-vis air travel from South Carolina to Philadelphia, which is where PAX is taking place, right? So I was helped out with a place to stay, but I took care of my own air travel, right? And it was cheap. The flight was very reasonable, and it was late in December. This year, it's early in December. Last year, it was like the middle of December. That same flight is way more expensive this year than it was last year. And I was like, well, it's earlier in the month. That's weird. I wonder why it's up so much. And then I found out it's because the cheap competitor doesn't do a flight there anymore. I am going to be flying there on American Airlines. And I went on American Airlines last year from South Carolina, where I'm at in South Carolina, to Philadelphia. And there used to be a Spirit flight that was the same location to the same location. And because they're so cheap, that American Airlines had to have a cheap competition, and it brought the price down. Now that they are the only game in town, it is about 2 times as much. So it's about double that I will be paying. But I won't be paying because I'm being assisted even more than I was previously, which is very generous, and I'm very grateful for that. All right, so I've completed this, I believe, properly. I don't know if I did it wrong before, or the last time I was trying to get this in, but now I believe this is at least going to be accurate here. All right, so then we'll just make sure this looks right. This looks right. Then this is supposed to just go into this here, and then twist over. Great. So I did fuck that up, and I unfucked it. As they say in the Loading Run Ready Run sketch, I unfucked this house. But of course, in this house, I mean this piece. This piece is now right because I did it wrong before and fixed it. Mr. Bob says I might go to Unplugged, but I'm going to commit a lot later than I would likely because I lost a bunch of money opting out of PAX East. Totally understand, Mr. Bob. You make the decision you'd like to make. I will say, I am doing a panel on Friday. I might be doing other things, but I can tell you I am running a comedic panel on Friday, December 2nd. But it will not be streamed out. It will happen, and I will record it, and I will put that recording on YouTube for people, but it will not be a live stream. I will not be on there, twitch.tv/PAX2 or whatever, which is unfortunate, and I wish it was not the case, but I can't really complain as I am being helped to be there. But I can also say, I already have more guests confirmed than I did last year, because last year was a bit of a cluster that ended up working out good, but was tough. PAX East and their partners should probably have a better cancellation policy than Tough Luck. Unfortunately, Mr. Bob, yeah, that's basically everybody's thing is, if you're getting your badge mailed to, I would say this, if you ever think you're gonna bail out on a PAX, make sure that you get your badge mailed to you and you don't do will call so that you can then try to sell your badge to a friend. That does not help for hotel and flight accommodations, certainly, but at the very least you can do that because it would probably be it would not be easy to get your will call badge to go to someone else, is my guess. And the other stuff is obviously very difficult. It's not as difficult to cancel an Airbnb as it is to cancel a hotel room. Flights for credit are not the easiest thing in the world to get these days, despite everything we know about the airline industry when they're at. So yeah, I would say, Mr. Bob, if you can't attend, that would be great. If you can't attend, I understand. It would be nice to say hi, and it would also be nice to have people that I know are going to be in the audience, because you never fucking know. But yeah, I'm going. I'm excited to go again. If it would be nice if people can attend. It'll be on YouTube. I'll put it up that weekend probably, because I'll have to record it and then do a bit of light editing, which I don't know if my laptop is going to want to do. So I might have to wait till I get back. I still have it also. TBA. What's going to happen as far as streaming? I'm going to be in a hotel room. So I can't say for sure that I will have good Wi-Fi, but I would like to do at least one stream while I'm down there, if not two. So my guess is, like, I'm going to arrive on Thursday, and the plan is to stream that Thursday, because I generally, like, my only plan for that night is get there, check into the hotel, get my badge, then check into the hotel. Like, that's kind of my priority. If there are other things come up, But I definitely want to, get the old badge and go through all that process, and then get in the hotel. So I think I will use the hotel Wi-Fi, or if there's a wired connect. I mean, if there's a wired connection, fuck yeah. But there's not always a wired connection in a hotel room. If I'm in a business suite, there would be, because there often is for that. But I'm not like banking on that. So I would like to stream that Thursday, and maybe even stream that Saturday, depending on what's going on with me. But I'll know closer to the event. It might just be like an early afternoon, or like between things, like check-in stream one of those days. I don't know. Maybe I'll get like a 100-something piece Lego set, because Lego is easy to fly with. Like, I'm not bringing this on a plane. Like, even like checked bags, which I don't want to check bags if I don't have to, because I'm gonna have gear, because I'm gonna have my laptop and a bunch of bullshit. Because I just realized, yeah, I'm going to have this camera over here, I'm going to have to bring. And then if I want to do a build stream, I'm going to have to bring a webcam. I guess I could use this for the build stream. I also have to get, hey, this is fun. I got to buy a tripod, because I have one in New York, and I could have taken it with me last month. I could have flown back here, and I didn't. So I'm just going to get a very inexpensive Amazon's Basics tripod, most likely. Like, lightweight. I don't care if it's good or not. It just needs to last a weekend tripod. That's the plan right now for that. So yeah, I'll be talking more about it as we get close to the date. If I end up guesting on any panels, which I'm in conversation to do that's not like confirmed. I can't make it, say like, oh, I'll also be on these people's panels. Like, I'm putting myself out there that I'm available, because I would like to guest on a panel, but I don't know. All right, that's PAX. I don't know if it would be interesting for anyone who is not really into wrestling to watch Bray Wyatt's return to the WWE after being released a while ago and coming back now. I don't know if his performance would be interesting to you out of context, but to me, it was fucking really interesting, because it's the closest thing to like a shoot promo, shooting from the hip. It's not a work, it's a shoot. A promo that we're ever probably going to get out of the man. Bray Wyatt has been a cult leader in wrestling. He has been a demon. He has been a man with demons. He has been Matt Hardy's friend. He's had a bunch of stuff. He has been a children's entertainment, edutainment host who also has a dark personality character. He has done a bunch of shit. He came back in what I would call motivational speaker mode for Bray. Now, the lights were very dark. He came out of this door with lighting behind it that was creepy and cool as hell. He comes down to the ring to this new song by a band that played his old theme. And it's like, people were like, oh, I don't like this music. I'm like, no. This is exactly what the quote-unquote real Bray Wyatt would think is cool. Because the real Bray Wyatt is a man that has his own demons inside of him, but also is a man that is a white gentleman that has dreadlocks. So a white man with dreads would think that Bray Wyatt's music is fucking cool. So I think it's perfect for him in that context. So Bray comes to the ring, and he gives a very heartfelt, like, welcome back promo, where he's like, I've lost some people, and I was down on myself, but y'all believed in me, and I want to thank you so much. And, you know, it was just, like, very heartfelt and cool. Someone just yells out, we love you, and he's just like, I love all of you, and thank you for, you know, keeping me in your thoughts. And it's just, like, lovely and heartfelt, and you're like, other than the fact that the lighting is still spooky as hell, and they've been all this, like, ARG stuff, like, this is kind of fucking cool. This is almost, it's not cult leader Bray, it's almost like tent revival, like, preacher Bray. But it's maybe like a preacher / motivational speaker Bray, and it was fucking cool as hell. And then a video played on their big old screen, and it was a person in a new mask that we've kind of seen a little bit of in the lead up, but is new to the world. And this masked person basically was just like, nah, you don't know, you don't even know you don't even know what's going on. You know, I'm in control. This is happening. And so I don't know what we're getting, because it was just that. It was cool as hell and creepy. And it feels like we're getting, like, what I think would be fucking rad is if he keeps coming out trying to do baby face, like, good guy, like, I'm so proud of everybody and I'm so happy to be here, like, promos. And every time he tries to do one of them, he gets interrupted just a little quicker by this. It does seem like we're going to get, like, representations of characters from the children's show thing, like in costumed people, and he's probably going to lead a faction. But I also like the idea that they're just representing parts of his own ego or representations of memories, and he is unhappy that they keep showing up. Like, oops, oh no! All right, we got to pause here. I'm going to keep talking for a second. I got to pick up a thing that just fell. I'm picking it up. I'm coming back. I'm getting settled in again. We're back. Okay. Sorry about that. I love the idea that Bray Wyatt is the babyface, and the literal demons that he is fighting are the heels of this story, and that Bray Wyatt is just in his own little world fighting himself. I think that is poetic and cool as hell and weird, and I am here for it. I am a big Bray Wyatt fan. I know some people were like, oh, I love Bray Wyatt until it's time for Bray Wyatt to wrestle. And I was just like, no, I still love Bray Wyatt. I love that part of Bray Wyatt too. I don't like Bray Wyatt when he feuds with Randy Orton. My biggest issue with Bray Wyatt is they kept trying to make a feud with Randy Orton work, and it was never going to work. And the reason is that Randall Keith Orton refuses to emote any sort of response other than, I'm mad at you. Like, Randy's acting range starts with, I like you, then I don't like you, but I do like you, which is a lot for him. That's new as well. He's only gotten that in the last few years. And then I don't like you. Randy Orton was never scared of Bray Wyatt. He was never scared of The Fiend. He was never bewildered by what was happening and like giving himself second thoughts and doubts. And that can't work when you are a spooky motherfucker. If you are a spooky motherfucker, people need to get fucking scared of you. You can't have somebody too cool for school when there's spooky shit happening. Like when he fucking wrestled with Braun Strowman, it wasn't great, but at least Braun Strowman was like, I know what you're doing. I know what you're trying to do to me. Like, he at least acknowledged that, like, Bray Wyatt is a creepo and a weirdo. But Randy never did, and that's why it never worked for me. It always felt like a waste of everyone's time, which is frustrating because it's a wrestling match that you're watching, and maybe you paid money to watch it. But anyway, I think it's fucking cool as hell. I think Bray Wyatt rules, and I'm psyched to see more of whatever the fuck is going on. I thought that was neat as hell, and I'm looking forward to more of it. Other things in wrestling, Sami Zayn beat Kofi Kingston in a match. Look, was there cheating? Yes, but it's still a win for Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn still having the best storyline in any professional wrestling company in the United States. Just having a fucking incredible year. He is a babyface who is a heel as well. He's a beloved heel in a heel faction, and people like are just loving what he's doing. And it's not just me. Where sometimes sometimes in his career it felt like it was just me. Now I know there are a lot of people that love him, but it did feel like sometimes he wasn't getting the respect he deserved in the as far as wrestling fans go. So I'm glad to see people just so on board with the shenanigans afoot by one Sami Zayn, because he's just doing such good work out there. All right, we're gonna panel line this here. Get this get a little brown on this red here before we continue. We only got a couple more pieces left before then we have to build like the claw part. We're getting there. So that's wrestling. Let's see. Are there other things to chat about here? Yeah, I guess like let's talk about this NVIDIA thing. NVIDIA has canceled their cheapest PC graphic card. The 12 gigabyte RTX 480 was scheduled to launch next month at $900, but now they're not doing that. They unlaunched it. So they're still only going to have the 16 gigabyte RTX 480 because they were doing two different 480 cards, one 12 gigabyte, one 16 gigabyte. Now, if you're saying to yourself, Pat, or saying to me, shouldn't they have had two different numbers for that? Because it feels like different graphics cards. The answer is fucking yes. Of course they should have. They should have known not to do this, and at least they are apparently taking the feedback from people that are like, "What are you talking about?" So they're pulling it back. So you're still going to just get the $1,200. This is, of course, MSRP. Who knows? RTX 480, and then the $1,600 for 4090 is a thing that exists, and you can still get that. Let's see. They're unlaunching the 12 gigabyte. The card is. Well, of course, this is, of course, according to NVIDIA. While the card is, of course, fantastic, it's too confusing to two different GPUs that are both RTX 480. Fucking duh. Yes. Glad you caught on, NVIDIA. That's what we've been saying. Everyone was saying that. I'm glad they finally figured out that, oh, wait, turns out shit doesn't work like this. You can't say that shit, turns out. All right, let's just hit this real quick with a little bit of gray. But we are got this on here. All right. Which is just very funny. And also maybe they're trying to get more people to buy the more expensive 480. But still, it's just very strange. It's just a weird thing. Like, obviously saying $900 is the cheap option also sucks. Let's be clear. Saying that we have a cheaper option for everybody that's cheaper than our other two options, it's only $900 is like, okay, well, fuck off. I mean, you can charge whatever you want to charge, but I can also say fuck off. Mr. Bob says, EVGA is probably pretty happy about not having a couple thousand cards they would have had to sit on. Yeah, I mean, who knows what the deal is for those partners and what they're getting back. You would hope that they're being taken care of, but also from what it seems like, no. That it seems like no, but who knows? I don't know. It's bad. I mean, it's bad. We'll just say that. Speaking of bad, let's talk about voice acting. Now, before I get into the story, I need to set up some parameters and understanding. AFTRA is an acting union that covers stage actors, theater, television actors, radio, and voice acting. SAG is the Screen Actors Guild. Those two unions merge together. So when I say SAG or AFTRA, when I'm talking about stuff here, or SAG-AFTRA, it's all the same thing. Just understand, if you you're covered for everything. It's all one union. It took a very long time for that to merge. It did merge. This also involves internet stuff and commercials and a bunch of other things, right? Okay, so that's just, let me get that out of the way. Now, another thing to point out. Being being a member of a union does not prevent you from doing non-union work. That could seem weird, right? Because when you think of like a union, you think, oh, you're in the union, you pay union dues, the union looks out for you, you get contracts, you get union contracts, right? Yes, that is true. You do all those things. But unfortunately, there's a lot of work out there that is non-union. Now, should it be non-union? Fuck no, it shouldn't be non-union. Should there be so many commercials that are non-union? No. Should there be television productions that are non-union? Fuck no. Should there be movies that are non-union? No. Broadly, yes, in some examples. Should there be theater that is non-union? Absolutely. And that's where the exemptions come in, right? So let's say that you are a SAG-AFTRA member and somebody is doing a black box theater, or not even black box. They're doing a weekend of shows for a festival. They're doing a festival and they're like, hey, Pat, you're not on any shows right now. You're not on Broadway or off Broadway or off Broadway. Do you want to do this? Do you want to do the Frigid Festival in New York? And I say, is it an AFTRA show? And you say no. And you go, all right, well, let me talk to my rep and get an exemption. And in the case of acting, theater, in the playbill, which says everybody and who they're playing and who they're rep by, and then in credits they have, it will say there'll be an asterisk, and that asterisk will be on anybody who's qualifies for, appears courtesy of AFTRA. And that just means that I didn't go for a union rate by doing your play. Because either I did it for free, or I did it for, like, little money or no money. But that is part of the AFTRA exemption, right? If you do a Adult Swim show, which almost every Adult Swim show is not AFTRA, or some Comedy Central shows, because almost no Comedy Central shows are SAG-AFTRA. I did one show that is SAG-AFTRA. That is why I easily get residuals for the episode of Broad City that I was in, is because that is a SAG-AFTRA show, or was a SAG-AFTRA show, and that is why I get residuals for it. If I had just done another show, I might not have. And also, again, point out, I am not SAG-AFTRA. It is okay to be a non-union member and do a union show. And they look after me like I was a union member, which fucking rules. It's occasionally a little harder to get someone on the phone if you are a non-union member and you have an issue. But it's not impossible. It's not a deal breaker. All right, trying to get this piece on here, and I don't know why it's being awkward, but it is. Get this on. There it is. Got it. Okay, so that'll help a little bit with explaining this. Now, the world of commercials. A lot of commercials are non-union because they're not on network shows or just don't want to be, any number of reasons. Now, if you are in the union and you are going out on commercials, you want to be on union shows. If you don't have a manager or an agent, you just go out to whatever, going through friends, or casting agents recommend you because they've seen you in other things, or whatever it is. Or you aren't signed, but somebody will send you out because you are a niche. Like, I was not signed, but there were a couple agencies that if they had available slots, because they only had so many people that could come in, they would send me out for like big guy roles because they had a couple big guys signed for commercial auditions, but they didn't have, if they didn't have, like, let's say they had 4 guys, and maybe there'd be an audition where they could send 5 people out. Well, I might be the 5th person they call because they're like, well, we have Pat, we can send Pat out for this, or actually a couple people have a conflict because this is Walmart and they did an ad for Lowe's and there's a no compete or whatever, or like it's a Burger King ad, and Jim Santangeli, who I'll mention again later, so I bring his name up. Jim, who's a big man. Jim is a big guy that I often would audition against for things that I know and love. Jim is fantastic. Another Connecticut native. Love Jim. Well, Santangeli did McDonald's ad, so we can't go out for Burger King, send Pat out. That kind of thing, right? So you can do that. You can always do that. That's why I've been able to do after shows. Now, when you start getting into voiceover talent, some voiceover work is union, and that depends on the production. Now, when you're talking about video game stuff, that is almost exclusively in-house. But some companies hire a voice studio or a voice production house to do their voiceover. And that house might be a union house where if you sign a contract with us, everyone that comes in is union. So everybody that's coming through the doors on this is in the union, or it is a union show. So even if you're not in the union, you still got to go and you get that contract. In-house stuff is almost never unionized. And this applies to voiceover work for radio, commercial radio, commercials in general when it comes to voiceover. This applies to video games, and it applies to animation. Both television animation and movie animation, and also video game animation, of course. And anime. Anime, is its own kind of big business, right? So, you will hear about well-known people that are definitely in actors you did. They're definitely in SAG-AFTRA, but they're doing this video game. Now, is that a union contract? No, it is not a union contract. Is it a good contract? Possibly. There are a lot of people that are not getting good contracts because the work is scarce and the industry is tough and you are competing against a lot of people. Like, there are a few people out there that just fucking get work and they don't have to worry about shit. And there are a lot of other people that don't get that work and they have to just struggle and figure it out. Some people, voice acting is their full-time profession. Other people have multiple other jobs, or they're pursuing a million other things, and the opportunities are they just go for it and they're just doing it. They got a day job and they just send in audio, and then they're living in LA or they're living in New York hoping to book something, or maybe they moved to Dallas because they wanted to work for Funimation and for the very long time, and now unfortunately again Funimation was doing stuff in-house in Dallas, Anime stuff, dub stuff, not union at all, pays terribly compared to any project. Now, I'm bringing all this up because there were some Twitter videos out today from Helena Taylor, who was the voice of Bayonetta in the first two Bayonetta games, the English voice actor for Bayonetta in the first two video games. She is not in the third game. Somebody who is being paid way more than she was ever paid for the first two games is, somebody's being paid to get out there, and they're doing this. Now, the reason why she's not there are numerous ones, probably. One of the reasons is a lowball offer. A take it or leave it offer. Not an opening negotiation offer. A this is the best we can give you offer. Of, according to Helena, $4,000 for an entire video game. That's nothing. Now, I understand. I fucking totally understand. If you are thinking to yourself, $4,000 is a lot of money. Believe me when I tell you, that is not a lot of money for a video game, the third game in a video game franchise, for the amount of hours for the lead character to voice. That is nothing. Please believe me when I tell you that is a very low amount of money. It is a legitimately insulting amount of money. Now, this is a video series that she did, a 4-part video thing talking about this. Some of the other things she had to say seemed weird. I will say, she is seems to be, my interpretation of the video, seems to be among a population of people, of voice actors, which is, in my opinion, small, but, it is what it is, that loves the character they're portraying so much that they put a lot of stock into that character. Like a David Hayter, you know what I mean? Like David Hayter loves Snake in a way that only Kojima loves Snake more, kind of a way, you know what I mean? Where it's like a lot and you're like, okay. And I understand that. Like, Christopher Sabin, or Sabat? Christopher Sabat. The dub voice of Piccolo and Vegeta. Also, he's the voice actor for All Might. He's the dub U.S. Voice actor for All Might from My Hero Academia. And he has said that until that show is over, he wants to always voice. He doesn't want to let it go. He is not willing to let go of All Might because there is a generation of kids and teens that are watching that dub and love All Might so much. And to them, he is All Might. And it's the most gratifying thing he's ever witnessed as a voice actor. This is like quotes from him. That he never wants to let it go because his connection with these people is so strong. That he is like, nah, that this is going to be me forever. But the thing is, Crunchyroll / Funimation, owned by Sony, could decide that this is the last season that he'll be that voice actor. They could just decide that. They could just make that choice. I don't know what his contract is, but they could just say, hey, how much do we fucking pay this guy? For All Might? He just like says some nice things and has a deep voice. We can get somebody else to do that. Local, in Dallas. What the fuck do we care? Maybe LA. So the thing I'll say, Umjan says this is why we need stronger unions. SAG-AFTRA is fucking strong, my dudes. My friends. SAG-AFTRA is a very strong union. Their minimums are great. Their conditions for hazard pay, which for voice actors includes and is not limited to yelling and screaming, that you have to give notice, that you have to give buffer days for that you have to, in some instances, you have to pay extra because someone may have to reject other work because they are yelling and screaming for your thing. Or even perhaps because of motion capture. And you might be doing movement, you might be doing acting, besides just voice acting, you might do physical work. and there are conditions for that, and pay for that. And they do a lot of fucking great shit to make sure that people are being taken care of. But if the thing you're doing isn't a union gig, then none of that matters. So it's unfortunately up to especially the video game industry to start getting the fuck on board with unions and making it more of a thing. And that unfortunately means, hey, Lord Washington, that unfortunately means a lot of people turning down work. There is a different voice actor for Mob Psycho. Mob's voice actor is different this season because Mob was a union recording because it was done by a third party. Now that Crunchyroll and Funimation have merged, they want to do it in-house. They want to do this one in-house, and it was not going to be a union project. And the voice actor for Mob said in first round negotiations, I don't do non-union work. I would much prefer this to be a union gig. And they said no. And then he went public and he said, look, I will do it. I will do this non-union gig because I do really love Mob and I love this crew and I want to do this work. And I know that fans, enjoy me and I appreciate them. My condition would be I will come back and do this work. And they don't have to Crunchyroll doesn't have to make any agreement. They just have to say that they will meet with, and no saying they have to agree to anything, just the idea that they will meet with representatives of SAG-AFTRA, because he's a union voice actor. And I have not listened to the dub. I do not believe that he was hired. Some people were hired. There wasn't a picket line. There wasn't a boycott. This was a attempt to. So Helena and this voice actor, whose name escapes me, and I apologize for that. They are coming at it with different ways. I think both are good because I will say, a lot of fucking people were like, well, she must have been paid more because she's union. Like, I saw that in Discords that I'm on, 2 different Discords I'm on. I saw that on Twitter a lot. I saw that from people who are, like, in video games. They're, like, game developers or they are community people that were saying, well, if she's a voice actor that's union, she must have been paid more than $4,000 or offered more than $4,000. And I was like, oh, yeah. Okay, a lot of people don't know this stuff. They don't know that you can get exemptions or you just do it and you get yelled at but you keep doing it because you gotta eat, people gotta get paid, people gotta work, and yeah, it is tough to turn down work. I mean, the idea to turn down Mob Psycho, it's like, that's a lot. Like that, I don't know what the money is. Not great. Now, I do know, last week, I don't know the money that she made previously. One would assume more than $4,000 because $4,000 feels insultingly low, but maybe it wasn't so much more. Maybe the first one was kind of nothing, and then the second one was more. I did see somebody say that a company got paid more for, there was something about, a Kickstarter for something else got more money than she did, whatever. And it's just there's a bunch of stuff out there. And this is what I think was cool as hell. There were voice actors out there going, this is what I made for this. There were voice actors that were saying, I did 3 voices in Breath of the Wild, and that's why I received, a actor who came in to do so many hours of work for Breath of the Wild, made $6,000 and was willing to talk about how much they made, which is awesome because we don't know that stuff. Voice actors do talk. The issue about voice acting is that it is incredibly competitive, and it is very difficult for voice actors to so while it is incredibly competitive because it's such a small world, only so many of them talk to one another. And share how much they're making. I did earlier. I mentioned my buddy Jim Santangeli. corporations love to not pay voice talent if they're not a big name. Certainly. Let me tell you about my buddy Jim, my good friend Jim Santangeli. I miss Jim. I gotta reach out. I'm gonna use this as an excuse to reach out. Jim voiced Pearson, the cook, in Red Dead Redemption 2. You may have played that game, and you may go, "Oh yeah, okay, Pearson, great." You might not know. It's all right. Jim is an actor. He's been in some stuff. Nothing super big. It's probably his biggest credit. Let's be real. That he was in the video game. So he's in the game. Jim did not know that he was auditioning for Red Dead Redemption 2. Jim did not know that he was auditioning for a Rockstar game when he went in, because video games are so secretive. You don't know shit, right? You just don't know. You just don't know. Now, he did eventually, right before he went in, figure out, oh, this is Rockstar. Because of the location in New York that he went to audition in, it was very clear. A friend of his who was auditioning for something else that didn't get it, was like, oh, I know where you're going. I've been there before. This is a Rockstar game. And so then Jim was like, am I going to be in the next Grand Theft Auto? Is there a next Grand Theft Auto coming out? Am I going to be in Grand Theft Auto? And I was like, no, it's Red Dead Redemption 2. Another friend of mine did various voices. He did a lot of like bartender and various things. He did like 15 characters or something. But he also was like, he was like, I think this is a Red Dead game. But they went in audition. So he knew this is a Rockstar game. He didn't know what Rockstar game it was. But the contract he signed, I don't know the specifics of, but I do know that they did their best to make sure that he didn't know anything about what he was going to be doing. And that sucks. And unions don't want that shit. And unions will work very hard so that shit is not a industry fucking standard like it is. This idea that you don't know what your character is going to say or do before you before you agree to do it and sign NDAs and do all this other stuff. Also, she broke an NDA by saying all this stuff, right? And so people were just like, well, she's done. Now, it could be very well good and true that she might be blackballed from the industry, that she may not be able to work in it anymore. That is very much a reality. She's legally fine. No production company is going to sue her, especially with the story being picked up by like real people and real places, means that most likely she will not see any direct monetary repercussions from anyone involved. Nintendo's not going to go after her. Nintendo does love to sue things, but that's not going to be it. It mostly comes down to, will she continue to be hired in an industry that it seems like she is tired of being in and done with, which I do not blame her. I do not blame her at all for feeling like she needs to be done with this work, because they seem to be treating her pretty piss poorly. So yeah, a lot needs to change with this particular industry. I mean, in general, I would say non-union. So here's like in other worlds. Yes, that was not her main source of income, because if it was, she might have said yes and taken it because it could lead to other things, and that would be a shame for her. Now, I should point out that one of the reasons why exemptions in outside of, I gave a case for acting, for like regional and local theater stuff, why that is, why that is accepted in a time-honored tradition of exemptions. Why else might it be? I should just point this out because we talk about it. Well, it's also meant for like, so that like a big budget actor can work scale in like an independent film. One of those indies where you're like, oh, there's a bunch of people I don't know, and like an up and comer, like 5 years later, you're like, oh, I didn't know that this person was in that movie. And then there's like one name, and you're like, what the fuck? Why was Samuel L. Jackson in that movie? Why was Samuel L. Jackson in that movie for like 3 days? Because of union exemptions. He was able to be paid scale because the producer knows his family, or he read the script and it was on the black, list or whatever, and it actually got made, and he was just like, I really think this movie is fun. Or he was like, they paid for my flight to Honolulu and I wanted to be in Honolulu and I just stayed another month. And so I did this weird indie that no one will ever see. Like, it can just be something like that. And that's what the exemptions are meant to be for, is for that kind of thing of like understanding that people that can, have a very high rate, they have to be paid something because they have to pay their agents and managers a percentage of things. There was a comedian that did a show that a friend of mine used to run, and he was like, oh yeah, I can book this comedian. I have to pay him $50 to do it. And I was like, what the fuck? He's charging you $50? That guy doesn't need $50. He's like, no, he has to earn something because he has a lot of people that need to get percentages of things. And when he tells them he did a thing for free, they freak the fuck out. And one of them just said, just charge $50. That's the bare minimum that you can charge. So he charges $50. And then he also, I should say, this particular comedian, and I won't blow up their spot, also donated at least that for any time he did something like that. So basically that $50 was being donated to charity because he would just donate on his own. And I always thought that was like, I mean, it sucks, but it like makes sense. And I'd rather have that than unfortunately, the reality that we have, which is a bunch of people out there just don't do union work. And if you want to be in the industry, you have to. You may know Sam Riegel. You may know of Sam Riegel. He's on Critical Role. You may recognize that he is a voice actor that has been in things like some Ninja Turtle cartoons. Perhaps you know him as Teddy, the U.S. voice of Teddy, or the English voice of Teddy, I should say, in Persona 4 and Persona 4 Golden. Teddy, great character. But Sam was the original voice actor for the first English dub of the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh! For the first 11 episodes. We all love Teddy. He was Tristan for 11 episodes. And he had not fully, he was going out to LA, and then he was going back and forth between LA and New York. He hadn't fully moved to LA. And they were like, hey, we need you in town. And he was like, I can't come in right now, but I will be there soon. I'm moving to LA in a couple weeks. And they recast him. So the voice actor for Tristan for the rest of the first run of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is someone else, not Sam. Because it was not a union contract, and there was no negotiation. There was no one to be mad on his behalf. And Sam was just starting out, so it wasn't like he could get super furious with them. Now, was he also Rex Raptor? Yes. Was he also several other characters in Yu-Gi-Oh? Yes. So he ended up having a good relationship, but he may have stayed the voice of Tristan for the rest of the series if he had had someone in his corner that he paid a certain percentage of his income to be like, hey, what the fuck, what are we talking about here? There's got to be a way around this shit. Pay for his flight in early. What are you talking about? Like, they could have made it work if there had been somebody to be like, hey, what are we doing here? And he could have kept that steady gig instead of coming in for smaller roles. Now, Sam is doing just fine, but also it would have been nice to have the steady income of the fourth lead in, fourth or fifth lead, depending on where you are in Yu-Gi-Oh! Pretty constant work. The guy in the background that occasionally says shit would have been nice for him. But he didn't have that. He didn't have that advocate because it was not a union gig, because it was Funimation at the time. That version of Funimation. There's been a few different Funimations. All right, we're going to work on the head once we're done with the pause for the cause. That's right. We're not getting rid of that shit. We got to talk about ways that you can support what I'm doing here. We're talking a lot about other people making money. It's time to talk about me making money. That was a bad transition. Anyway, if you're currently a subscriber to the old Bill with Bear, you can throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the emote in the chat. If you're a tier 2 subscriber, you have the blue emote, and you can throw the blue emote in there. Subscribing is the easiest way to support what I do. If you're new to the stream, I'm going to talk for a couple of minutes, then we're going to get back to model kit building. If you've been around for a while, I understand that this is annoying because I always say the same shit, but I got it. This is my ad reads for me. Subscribing is the easiest way to support what I do. If you're like, if you want to just $5 a month cash money, like Harold did earlier, you can see renewed there. If you want to do Prime Gaming, if you have your Amazon Prime link with your Twitch, you get that token. You can use that token on me. That would be great. We're currently at 34 subscribers. The goal every month is to hit 40. Do I get paid out at $50 now instead of the $100 threshold? Yes. Do I still want to be 40 subscribers a month? Also, yes. You could also, if you are already a subscriber, or you're like, that's not for me, I don't want to see emotes, I don't care about seeing ads, I'm fine. Well, you could gift a sub to somebody in the community. Right now, Wristfan is the only gift sub this month, but you could gift a sub to somebody anonymously, or take credit, and we'll thank you, and you'll join the gift sub leaderboard. Give me 1 second here. Sorry about that, I had an itch. Or you could just like gift to a bunch of people, and just see who it is. It's fine. Somebody directly, just random, whatever you want to do. You could also donate bits and coins to me, because every little bit helps and gets me closer to that goal of $100 a month. But I appreciate anyone that has even considered. If you've subbed for 1 month, if you were gifted a sub and you decide to continue that gift sub, whatever. If you're just hanging out and you are never going to subscribe. So that's okay, and I appreciate that. I still appreciate you being here. Let's see. What do I want to say? Oh, well, I have alternatives to Twitch. If you're just like, actually, Pat, the reason why I can't help you out on Twitch is because I don't want them to know my credit card. I don't want anything to do with that. I understand. What about Patreon? Patreon.com/PatBear. There's a $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. Patreon. All subscribers on Patreon, all patrons, are going to get an email tomorrow with my schedule for the second half of October, because I'm going to send that out. And they'll get that before I tweet it out to everybody else. So jump on the old Patreon. There's a different rewards for the different tiers. You get charged when you sign up, and then you'll be charged 1 month after instead of the first. Everyone that did before is the first of the month, but from now on, when you sign up, it goes to that. I'm going to stop talking about that. But anyway, Patreon acts like it should act instead of how it used to be, which was like you could join on the 26th and then also get charged on the 1st. And it didn't make any sense. They got rid of that shit. It's rolling subscriptions now. I also have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/PatBear. They're, subscribing there is free, obviously, and please do, because I post videos every Wednesday and every other Monday, and I would love for you to jump in over on the YouTube channel. There's also a membership there, and for $2 a month, you get my Wednesday videos a day early. It's a little thing I do, and occasionally I just send messages out there when I've posted something. So take a look at that, see if there's something there that you would love to jump in on. I'd love to see you over on youtube.com/PatBear. I don't think I'm ever going to stream. I've thought maybe I should try streaming to YouTube, but as of right now, I don't have immediate plans to try that. I might try that. I don't know. I might try that for like a non-model kit project. I have like a cleaning project that I might try to do. I got to put all my ducks in the row with that. So don't necessarily believe that is a sure thing, but it might be. Anyway, those are all ways to monthly support me, but what about a one-time? Well, I do have, one-time donations over at PayPal or Coffee, or you could jump in to the wonderful Stream Elements. Everything I make through direct donations through YouTube, which also includes AdSense, so watch my videos and watch those ads and I can get money that way, through Patreon, through Twitch, all that money goes into a fund. I buy model kits and equipment with that money. This kit that I'm building right now, that we are going to work on the head next, this kit came out of the funds from your generous support, so I thank you very much for that. Now, I have stuff, and obviously my $10 patrons are going to vote on what I build next, coming soon. But also there's stuff that you could buy and make that jump the queue. So it's not like the stuff I have over here that I can't wait to build. Instead, I don't have to wait a little longer, and I will build something that you purchased. Now, I have Lego sets there. I have the Zabongle. I have a kit from Zabongle, which is a very old mech series. It's a very easy, probably easy, small little kit to put together. But there's a Zabongle kit up there, and that way I get to say Zabongle a bunch. I got Lego sets. I got model kits, inexpensive kits, very expensive kits, a couple of Pokemon kits in there, a bunch of different things. Kits that have dropped in price a little bit and are fairly reasonable. Kits that are very expensive. Why is the Mobile Gin, the Gundam Seed Mobile Gin, $65? That's a master grade for $65. Actually, not that bad, honestly, for a master grade. But yeah, you buy something on there, it'll come to me, it'll jump the queue. I will I'll build it sooner, and I've got some gear at the bottom because it's always nice to have options. So you can always pick up a piece of gear for me to put together, or for just to have. So take a look at that. See if there's something you'd like for there. I'll make a video for YouTube about the thing that you just purchased. I updated my Throne. There are a few things that are no longer available on Throne. It is an alternative to my Amazon wish list. So take a look at Throne. See if there's something there that would interest you. And then, of course, USA Gundam Store. You can buy a gift card to USA Gundam Store. They will send you an email with that code. It's not a physical gift card. And then you could send me a DM on Twitter. My DMs are open with that gift card code. And I will use that money to buy something from USA Gundam Store. And it won't be a pre-order. It'll just be something that I can get sent to me in the mail. I have a Discord. If you want to support me for no money, just jump on the old Discord. It's a nice little place. I post build photos. People post stuff they're working on. Nice little spot. I have a couple video links to share with you before we get back to building. Pat Baer's Anime Club. Ongoing video series, Pat Baer's Anime Club, every other Monday. This is the latest episode, which is about the subgenre of the banished from a hero's party or kicked out, the kicked out / banished subgenre of action fantasy, which is that going to be the next big thing? Because there are so many light novels about that subject. There are so much manga about that subject. I just read a manga. The first chapter was about, the premise is the guy, every time he gets banished from a hero's party, he gets more abilities. So he goes from dimension to dimension doing that. Which I think is just a fun, weird, postmodern twist on it. I think that's going to be the next big anime subgenre. Obviously, Isekai is still here to stay, but I think that's going to be a lot. We've only had a couple examples. We got one this season. We had one last year. I think more are coming. Because there's a lot of light novels about that shit. So I talk about it. And then Do You Remembaer? It's an ongoing video series where every week I find a Wikipedia page that I want to do some quick research on. And then I make a video, try to remember everything I can about what I just read. And I'm going to be straight with you folks. This is the least amount of things I could remember in a video. The list of fictional dogs. I don't remember a lot of fictional dog names. I do remember a lot of categories that are not on that page. Like there's a lot of TV dogs aren't on that page. They have their own page. Like that kind of thing. I remember a lot of those categories that didn't make the bill. But I don't remember, unfortunately, enough dog names in that video. Like dogs from fiction. And dogs from songs. There are a lot of dogs from songs that are literal dogs, and then there's a lot of figurative dogs. Like, you ain't nothing but a hound dog. That's a figurative dog. That just means you're a scoundrel, jerk, horny dude, cheater. That is not a song about a real dog. Although if it was, I think I'd like it a little bit better. Anyway, check out that video. I think it's pretty good. We're going to get back to talking about some anime stuff here, and we're going to work on the head of this kit. Will we body complete this kit tonight? Maybe. We'll at least get some done. I bet there's going to be a bunch of stickers for me to do. As far as I can see, there are. But first, I have to dramatically transition the overhead and drink a little water. So I'm going to do that right now. All right, that's some water that I drank That was pretty good water, everybody. Just so you know, it's good water. Okay. We're going to work on the head of this. We have to do the core lander soon, but we got to do the head first here. But now let's talk about some anime, because I got a lot of anime to talk about here. Let me just real quick just check this thing here. Check my messages on there. Great. Cool. Okay, so Uzaki-Chan wants to hang out season 2. They're in college. It's time for the school festival, and you're like, "Oh, Pat, that's so fun. We got the school festival coming up. They're gonna go and do a bunch of stuff, and it's gonna be real cute, and like people are gonna think they're a couple." No, Hannah wants to do it, but Shinichi is like, "No." Shinichi is just like, "I'm gonna skip the festival because I'm not working on it, and I'm even gonna take another extra day off, and I'm going to stay at home and play video games." And she's just like, well, I do want to hang out with you, so can I come over? I'll make food. And he's like, yes, you can do that. Which is cute, and it's in a different way. But Sakaki shows up, and he's just like, hey, I made a suggestion for the festival. Now they're making me do the festival and help out. I'm bummed. There's this thing where you go to the booths, and you go to every booth. I can relate to taking a day off to play a video game. There you go, and John. Yep. Anime characters, they're just like us. He's like, I got roped into this, but if you go to every booth, you get a stamp, and every stamp gets you into this raffle, and you could win this video game system. And they say like CP9, whatever. They make up a thing, but it's a modern console. And Hana is like, I want to win that, but we're not going to go. So Shinichi's like, okay, I guess we're going to go. And of course, we, the audience, know that this is Sakaki's evil plan, that he is doing something to make them. Because he even says, well, you guys have fun on your date. And they're like, that's not going to be a date. Because people think they're dating. They're not dating. They are two people that hang out a lot together and clearly really like each other, but they are not dating. And people are very confused about that. But anyway, they're like, all right, I guess we're going to go. While they're walking, this has nothing to do with what happens in this episode. It is just an aside that I think is very fun and that you, my audience, may appreciate. They're talking about a video game that he can't wait to go, or how they're reminded of a video game walking around this festival, which is when you have to fight, when people are trying to collect money from you and you have to fight them in a video game they called Dragon Eat God, which is basically just a real quick shot of basically a parody of Like a Dragon / Yakuza. They just do a very quick image of like some characters just like yelling at each other that is very much an homage to that video game, and I just thought that was neat. Just thought that was cool. I gotta cut this code cleanly. So, yeah, okay. So, cut this out. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I just thought that was cute that they included that. So I wanted to mention it. They visit a bunch of booths. They go to the fortune teller booth, and it's a girl that Hana knows, and it is a romantic. They've been set up to go there because this is a romantic only fortune. It is only for relationships, and when they try to go, well, we're not dating, so we're gonna go. We're just gonna leave. They get stopped by these overactive, very like into it, very like. To go, sorry, this is the occult club, and they're like really gung-ho, and they're definitely not going to let you leave. So basically they get bullied into staying, and their fortune is very positive. They are very much a perfect match. They are like clearly should be dating. They are very simpatico, and that is very embarrassing to these two people who are not in a relationship to be told that they are made for one another. So they leave. And then we find out that the girl that they work with, Amy, who is too much, she is too fucking much about their relationship. She was there watching as well. And she was part of the plan to set them up, to observe them, and having people assume that they are dating. And be around for that shit. All right, so this has got to go. This, yeah. Okay, sorry, everybody. Getting this together, and then we'll panel line it once it's all together. All right, so we have two options for stickers for A1. We'll get into that in just a second. Anyway, so they don't have to. They do not win the raffle. So they had a very nice time, but do not win the raffle. And then, hey, he's still, because they don't have to help tear down anything, he can still play video games, and she comes over to feed him. He is still bothered by the fortune, and he is embarrassed, and it is tough for him to look at her. And she is fine with it, because our girl is very much in fucking denial. She is like, well, of course we're compatible, because he clearly likes me. Why won't he admit it? What's going on? But she is not willing or able to, in the moment, be honest with herself about her own feelings about being very into him. And that's kind of where we leave it for this episode. Okay, so we have a couple options here for stickers. We are going to go with just the eyes that are right here. We could do this sticker and then put our own eyes in it, or we could just do the one that's all together, and we are doing the easy one. And I love this option. I love that for people that want to get out the toothpick and really do a fantastic job applying these tiny teeny stickers. To that I say, have fun. I am applying these bigger stickers, and I'm, hopefully not fucking it up. It's hard to see because this whole piece is clear, so it is a little tough to see where this eye sticker is supposed to go. Are these eye stickers? But I will just apply it where I think it goes, and then I will find out later if I did it right or wrong when I put on the next piece. But anyway, that's Uzaki-Chan wants to hang out. Uzaki-Chan wants to hang out. Still really fun. Still a good time. College age romantic comedy. I still really like it. All right, so now we have E1 to put on. So let's put on E1. All right, the next one. I'm the Villainess, so I'm taming the final boss. We are in. I have to stress this. This is episode 4. I don't know where they go from here, friends. We hit episode 4 of this show, and it could just be episode 12. It's very clear that this is based on light novels, and this was like the end of the first arc. If you don't remember this show, our main character, Eileen, she died, and she got reincarnated as the Villainess in a dating game that she used to play. And this character sets up the tragic hero, and bullies the main girl, the Saintess, and then she dies. She just gets killed when the Demon Lord, who is a half human, half demon, awakens his demon powers and becomes a dragon, and lays waste to the kingdom before he gets killed. And while doing that, also just steps on her. So she has a really shitty death that is like for comedic effect. So our girl is like, the solution to this problem is make it so Claude, who should be next in line to be emperor, but because his mother was a demon, is not. Let's make it so that he does not hate humans, and he does not have a mental collapse and destroy things and then have to be murdered, because the Saintess, she has the ability to harm him when he is a full demon, because she can harm demons even if she's clumsy and shitty. So Eileen remembers part of the reason what triggered this event in the video game. This is the video game logic. Was his friend and confidant and assistant Keith had been selling slaves. Or not slaves, sorry. He'd been selling demons into slavery. So she remembers that's the betrayal that happened. And she's like, it doesn't get into why it happened, but I'm going to fucking find out why it happened, because what the fuck? Why the fuck did this shit happen? I gotta know. I'm going to find out. So she confronts him and she's just like, hey, I know you've been doing this. I want to hear from you what it is. What's up? So apparently, he handles the finances and such. He got cheated out of the land that... we dropped more frames there. Sorry, everybody. He got cheated out of the land that the demons live on. And he has been selling slaves to this guy, or selling demons into slavery, and those demons volunteered for the job. He didn't trick anybody. They volunteered for the job because they want... It's the least they could do. And of course, that is illegal. That does not... But here's the thing. That doesn't break any kind of... That doesn't break the laws of demons not interfering with humans. It's just morally questionable. But it wasn't enough. So it wasn't a betrayal. She kind of explains that. She smooths things over. And then, using her friends, demons and not, figures out how to trick this guy and capture the humans who are fucking around with this illegal slave trade. She figures out how to trap them, which they do, and that works out. Except then the younger brother of Claude, Cedric, who is the shitty prince that left, that tried to leave our girl at the altar, Eileen, so that he could be with the princess, who the saintess, who in the story he's the hero, but in this we know is a shitty motherfucker. He goes and kidnaps Eileen. Great, and you're like, he says, I'm going to make you my second bride, so that the saintess could be acknowledged by the emperor, because the emperor is pissed off that he is no longer marrying Eileen and did it in such a shitty way. But we find out that is not his insistence. He does not want to marry her. He probably does, but the real thing was he wants his own fucking half brother to turn into a monster so that the saintess can kill him, because then the emperor will have to acknowledge them. And it's all kinds of fucked up. And this dude, even if he was doing it and it wasn't in fully intent, he does make it seem like he is about to sexually assault our main character in order to ruin her. Fuck this dude. I'm glad that he gets his comeuppance, but what the fuck? So yeah, Claude shows up, and then Claude's like, oh, I'm going to lose my goddamn mind about this shit. So now, not written in the video game, but now happening in this reality, our girl is like, oh no. Oh no. He's turning into a full dragon. And then it gets weird. A weird thing happens, which is our girl, the saintess is like, well, I'm sorry, I'll put you out of your misery, which is clearly she is still being a selfish person, but she is acting like she is a saintess because she's the holy maiden. She has holy maiden ability. She's like, I got this sword. And she ends up stabbing Eileen, who got in the way. And she's like, look, what are you doing? This doesn't hurt, this can't kill, humans, but what's going on? And then we find out Eileen's like, yeah, I know it hurts it hurts a lot, but I know it can't kill me. But I hate to tell you this, I also have holy maiden blood in me. And she steals the sword by absorbing the sword, taking away the only way to defeat the dragon, and then, through her holy power that she has, and her being a cool lady that this dude really loves, she's just like, hey, I need you to, this is kind of be fun, but like, no, this isn't really what I'm looking for. I need you to be back in your human form. And he does. She sues them, and he's fine. And she needs bed rest, but is otherwise okay. And a deal gets made. Claude is reinstated as the crown prince, as long as they don't talk about what happened with Cedric, this motherfucker, and his evil bullshit scheme. And we see Claude and Eileen make the public declaration of their engagement and how the next emperor is going to marry her. And there's a nice little scene between Eileen's father and Cedric, where basically he's like, I don't care. I care about Eileen. I don't care about being the next emperor. And the dad is like, well, she trained so hard to be the empress, the future empress. Like, I'd never let her go to anybody below the emperor. And he was like, all right, well, fine. I guess I'm going to be the emperor then. Which is a fun little, like, all right, well, you got me there, buddy. And again, that's the end of episode 4. They're going to get engaged. The good guys won. And I don't know where they go from here. Like, clearly, maybe we're immediately getting into like uncharted territory where she doesn't know what's going to happen. She has no clue. Or side story. Or maybe there was a sequel series. I don't know. I don't have an answer for you about where this series goes, except to tell you that, like, I don't know. Episode 4, it basically wrapped up. Like, what? I don't know. I'm so confused that we're in episode 4 and, like, she finished the, like, end. She forged a new ending to the story that wasn't in the original video game, the fictional video game this is based on. And that's so weird and fun, and I really like it. I don't know. I think it's great. I like all these characters. I think they're doing a fun job. I don't quite know where it's going. I'm interested in seeing where it'll end up now that it's in the happy portion, one would assume. I assume there are more people going to stand in the way. I'm almost done with this face, which is great, because then we'll start working on the core fighter. We got to do a little panel lining here. No other stickers to put on here. We just did the one eye sticker, which is great. We're going to just do a little black and a little gray panel lining while I talk to you about Spy Family Part 2. So the cliffhanger from the last episode was, is Lloyd going to have to kill a dog? And you're like, what the fuck? No, Lloyd, because this dog has a bomb strapped to it. It is a bomb dog. Not a bomb disposal dog. A run into this place and listen to my commands and then you'll get blown up dog. So Lloyd manages to lock the bomb dog in a dumpster and then throws the bomb in a river. And then the guy that is in charge of these terrorist group, Keith, flees the scene. Meanwhile, Yor is still trying to track down Anya, and Yor recognizes Keith, so she leaps off of this crossing bridge, and then fucking spin kicks the door of this car. This car swerves to not hit her. She spin kicks the side of one of the doors, which causes him to lose control and crash. And then he gets arrested, and then dogs get taken into custody, and Yor is just cool as shit. And then Lloyd comes back to the family, and everybody's reunited, and then they're like, I guess we should adopt this dog, huh? I guess we really should just make this good dog part of the team, of the family. And they do. They're like, okay, this is going to be our dog. And the next day, Anya is trying to press Damien because we need a return of Smug Anya because it's only been a couple days since our last Smug Anya, but it doesn't work. So then she just like hangs out with the dog and plays with the dog, and the dog helps her find her lost favorite gloves, which is awesome. And so then she's like, all right, it's time to name this dog, and your name is Bond, which is after her favorite spy hero from the cartoons that she watches, Bond Man. So it's Bond. Bond the dog. Bond, the future-seeing dog, who, with Anya's telepathy, she can read the dog's mind to also see the future that is in the dog's mind. And now our doggo has a name, and the fourth member of the family is there, and this show is my favorite show. Like, I might have missed something in there because I was just yelling and cheering through the whole thing, so I apologize if I missed anything in that recap, but this show fucking rules, and everyone in it is great. And outside of maybe how your and her brother feel about each other, which is a little weird, it is a beautiful series. And I'm just... The dog is... Hey. The dog is good. Bond is a good dog. That's all I want to say about Bond. Best show of the year. No exaggerations. Side note before I start talking about I've somehow gotten stronger when I improve my farm related skills, which we'll get into. I found out I'll tell you when we get there next week, but I found out that one of the do yourself, how Serafu is yourself. There's another pun name in that show. I like the handlers cover a lot in that. Yes. Yes, I agree. Lashbrook. In Do It Yourself, there's the main girl, Yua Serafu herself. And then there's Purin, which is the nickname she gave to her friend in the next street. Well, that nickname, along with that girl's last name, basically is 3D printer. It's just Japanese for 3D printer. And that girl goes to the school where they make things with 3D printers and their drones. And I'll talk more about that later, but I didn't realize there was more than one name pun in that anime. And also, we're going to meet a character that I believe is like, her name is like Queen Elizabeth or something. She's got like a royal name, which just looks to be an American girl. I mean, she might be British, I guess. I don't know. Do It Yourself is like a top tier anime already. It is one of my favorites this season. It is definitely my favorite show this season that I bet very few people I know are watching. Outside of like Beej Dairy from Loading Ready Run. I know Beej is watching it. It might have ended up on Mother's Basement show because I believe that was uploading. It might be out by now, but that is the next video is the things to watch, and he was talking about that show. He also wants to watch. People want me to watch that maid war anime, the anime about like the maid cafes that are fighting each other, and I got to see some of that in motion because it sounds like I will not enjoy it. It does not sound like something that I would watch, but I know some people that are real into that anime, so I could be wrong. Anyway, let's talk about I've somehow gotten stronger when I improve my farm-related skills. Now, I need to say this. I did not say this in episode 1 last week, so I must make this clear, and I apologize I didn't say it because I usually talk about it. This show clearly does not have a good budget. There is a dragon in this episode that looks like ass. It looks terrible. It was described, someone described it, I believe in the Discord, as it appears to be like claymation, like stop motion. Like that's how little movement it has. It's not good. This anime cuts a lot of goddamn corners. But I do still like the premise of a guy who just wants to be a farmer, but got so strong that now he has to do like hero shit and adventurer shit just because he ended up getting very strong so that he can be a better farmer. You can go for an ass dragon. Yeah, it is but this is not a good dragon. Mirage the Benevolent is not a good looking dragon. Anyway, okay, so the princess is like, hey, you got to register in the guild. We gave you that land that turns out is not great, but you got to register the guild, so come with me. So they go register the guild. He gets his first quest, but guess what? He doesn't have adventuring gear. What the fuck is he gonna? Why would he have that? So I forget her name. Helen. Helen, who is the guild staffer, who is surprisingly going to be important, is like, hey, I have this robe. You can just borrow this robe. It's important, but you can borrow. It's like a beginner equipment. And he's like, okay, I'll borrow this robe. So he is like, I'm out in the forest. I'm doing this thing. Oh, shit. Even though I don't get scared that easy, the aura of this, like, dragon, this super rare black dragon or whatever, is like not a blue eyes white dragon, unfortunately. He's like, this dragon scared the shit out of me, so I gotta report this. And then we find out that Helen suffers nightmares and memory lapses. We just gotta find that out, but we're gonna learn out more about that soon because we're getting into our actual first real story. Because the first episode just kind of is like, hey, our guy's strong. And now we're like, hey, this is what's going on. So they identify this dragon. Oh, that's right. This is Ouroboros the Malevolent. So Ouroboros the Malevolent is... and then Helen abruptly remembers a memory that she had buried for a very long time. Again, this character... We just met this character. We're just finding out stuff about her. But yes, she has a repressed memory of her brother, Rai, I can't remember, I'm sorry, who was killed by Ouroboros. And that the robe that Al is wearing, that was his robe. Helen's adopted mother is like, I'm surprised Helen gave that to you because when we found her, she had amnesia and that robe. And then Al finds out that Helen, that Ouroboros had destroyed Helen's village, they believe. And supposedly Ouroboros was killed by Mirage the Benevolent. I had to write that down because, God, what the fuck are we talking about sometimes? But yes, apparently Mirage the Benevolent... killed Ouroboros, so it should be dead. But then what was that dragon that Al saw? And then when he's searching that area where the place that he thinks that Helen is from, he meets Rai. Rai is a ghost, and the princess can't see him, but for whatever reason, Al... Hey, guess what, everybody? Al can see fucking ghosts. And then he's like, hey, I've been waiting for 15 years... for someone to be able to see me. So we're going to learn more about that. So we're into the main story. Again, this is a series supposedly about a guy who wanted to be a farmer, a really good farmer, and he became uberly strong at farming. But right now we are in the part of the series where he is going to fight dragons and help a girl get over the sacrifice that her brother made to save her life. And it's weirdly heady for what is ostensibly a overpowered main character with a bunch of girls around him kind of a show. Look, do I think you should go out and look, at the very least, if you don't have High Dive, don't watch this show. Don't get High Dive for this show. Get High Dive for Novice Alchemist, because that show is actually really fucking good. 2 episodes in, but I would say that management of a Novice Alchemist is like worth getting High Dive for. There's other stuff like Uri Yatsura is back. with the new interpretation of that. That's on High Dive. High Dive has a bunch of stuff. I'm only watching 2 shows this season on High Dive, but I do know that there is plenty of good stuff on there for people to check out. I wouldn't say this is one of the shows that you don't get it just for this. Is it fine? Yes. Is it something that I won't feel bad if I drop? 100%. Folks, if this becomes a show that I don't watch anymore, I am not going to feel bad about that at all. I'm going to be fine if I'm just like, nah, I'm good. We have a few minutes left in the stream. Why don't you let me know what you're watching, what you're reading, what you're playing. I can tell you, friends, that I have now played. Lord Crashton wants me to hit the dance button. We haven't really hit the dance button too much lately, so here we go. While you're formulating what you want to say to me, vis-a-vis what you are playing, and I will tell you, or watching or whatever, I will tell you that I am... I played Overwatch 2. Played like 5 games of Overwatch 2. My multiplayer crew that I enjoy very much. I like them very much. We've been playing Gundam Evolution, a game that I don't think I love, but I do like, and I don't hate. And they kept saying, isn't it time let's try Overwatch 2, let's try Overwatch 2, let's try Overwatch 2. So we tried Overwatch 2. And thankfully, I can report, we are not going back to Overwatch 2. It's Overwatch still, but with like less stuff, and the stuff that I have unlocked from loot boxes in Overwatch did not carry over. Apparently they will eventually, but sometimes they just don't, which sucks. And I did not have particularly a great time playing it. But I did because I like my friends. John has been watching a Witch from Mercury, starting G Gundam and playing a bunch of Gundam Evolution. Nice. G Gundam is... I don't think G Gundam holds up, but I think that the design of a lot of the mobile suits is really fun. I think the stereotypes in it are bad. I think Domon rules, and I think Rain rules. And, of course, Master Asia, the undefeated of the East, kicks ass. Let's see. I've been playing spooky games. Beat Costume Quest, started Costume Quest 2. I love Costume Quest. The DLC, the Christmas DLC, I don't think is that great. Costume Quest 2 is awesome. Ghostfell says, still playing Deep Rock, watching Gundam, Spy Family, and Chainsaw Man. Hell yeah. Chainsaw Man, a show that I am deeply appreciate, but as I said, have made the decision not to talk about weekly. I am just absorbing it. Like, I don't know when I'm going to watch the second episode, if I'll do it like when it comes out or if I'll wait on it. But, I appreciate it's there. It's a lot. Let's see. Lord Crash didn't load it up Overwatch 2 3 times to get my account linked properly and my stuff unlocked. Realized I only played about 32 games of the first game. I played a lot. I can't remember how much, but I played quite a bit of that game back in the day, a while back, when people were playing the original Overwatch, which now you cannot play anymore. All right, let's get some of this thing done here. It's a fun twist on Gundam fighting. Yes, John, it is. I mean, G Gundam is an interesting experiment. It is an interesting thing to think about, the fact that that's the first part of the Universal Century, like the first its own fucking thing. Is interesting, is culturally, but it's got a lot of problems. All right, so we got to put these on here. Put this one on there. Andor is great. It's the wrist fan. Cool. I'm glad you joined Andor. Because Lashbrook also burned through all of Andor so far. It's really good. Played some Scorn today, but I could not figure out what I'm doing. Lord Crashton started Scorn until I was too creeped out by it. Lasted about 90 minutes. Nice. and started Lego Brick Tales. It's been pretty fun so far. Lots of virtual building in progress. I need to check out Lego Brick Tales. That does sound like something that I would like. I am literally going to copy and paste Lego Brick Tales into my Google Doc, my show Google Doc, so that I will remember, because I have forgotten on more than one occasion that I wanted to check that out. Lego Brick Tales. So Scorn. I love seeing people be like, I didn't know this was a puzzle game. There's so many puzzles. And then I also love seeing people say, I thought this was a puzzle game. Why do I have a gun? And why do I hate how the gun feels? So I'm like, one of those things where I'm like, I don't know. I think they're probably there are definitely people out there who are happy with the game, but I haven't run into them. I have run into people who are annoyed for different reasons. For one, people who just thought it was like a horror shooter, and it's not just that. And then people who are like, I thought this was a puzzle game, and it's not just that. So it seems like there are many people who are disappointed with what it is. I hope they find the fun in that game. I would never play Scorn, and I will not watch people stream Scorn. If Jeff Gersman starts streaming it, I will still mod the chat, but I will not be watching. I will be listening to the stream, because that game does not seem like something I want to play. You know what I mean? All right. Well, the core lander needs its wings, which then become like the part of the, because this core lander is also the backpack. Then we gotta put the blades on, because this has beam katanas. It's got beam katanas, so we gotta build the beam katanas at some point. And then then we'll put that together, and then we gotta build the cool, I don't remember what this is called. Do we have a name for this thing? I don't remember. But we got to put these cool rings on the back and build the ring thing. So we're going to finish this on Monday. That feels weird to say. We are. I only enjoyed the first puzzle in Scorn, which was a slide puzzle, downhill from there. It's funny because whenever you pause the game, it shows the controls, and they very much seem like a shooter controls. Yeah. I mean, it's got some shooting in it. All right, so we have body completed this kit. We are working on the core fighter, which is also the backpack. We are going to finish this kit on Monday. Tomorrow, my $10 patrons will vote on what I build next, because I don't currently have anything from my Amazon wish list that's come in. I might in the future. I believe something is in the mail now. I don't know what that is yet, but I believe... Oh, no, I'm sorry, I do know. I don't know when it's getting here, though, because it didn't have Amazon shipping, so... When that arrives, that'll be the next thing, but it probably won't arrive on Monday. So, we are gonna raid. That is how we end every stream. We end every stream with a good old fashioned raid to find somebody out there doing cool shit in the community that you want to go hang out with. I thank everyone for joining me tonight. Thank you for letting me know what video games you're playing and your comments. Thank you for listening to me rant about, as in Justice, we do end every stream with a raid. Thank you for listening to me rant about voice acting. And if, using this opportunity of someone who has been offered an insulting amount of money to talk about the larger issues with that in video games and anime and other things. I was happy to talk to you about that. Let's see, who's doing stuff? I don't know. You know what? It's Saturday. We do it on occasion. Joe Kim claims to not know much about Warhammer 40K. Warhammer 40,000. But he is playing Warhammer 40,000 Darktide. So we are going to go raid Joe Kim, because Joe Kim is a great person that we like here. And I believe I will see Joe Kim at PAX Unplugged when I'm there. So we're going to go give Joe Kim a raid. Now, feel free to come along on this raid. It's always nice when people can come out and hang out on there. My next stream will be on Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern. The goal on Monday is to finish this kit and start a new one. Again, my $10 patrons tomorrow will get to vote on what that is, either a Lego set or a high-grade kit, because those are the options that I have to present them. Thank you all so much for watching the stream. Thank you for coming along on this raid. It does also mean a lot to Joe to have people jump in. I will see you on the next stream in the future. Goodbye. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.